you to be crying.
Think I'm messed up?
Jules, your mother is sat in the living room eating her dinner with an umbrella because of the leak you were born into messed up.
Did Tilly have a bath?
Tilly had a bath.
Do you think we'll ever get that ceiling fixed?
I don't know, Jules. I don't know.
I'm going to go and stay at Erin's. I won't live like this anymore.
Don't stay at Erin's.
Why?
You'll come back stinking of smoke.
Why do you care?
We may be poor, but we're clean.
Oh my God, you're so judgmental.
I'm concerned.
So you don't want me to go away?
I want you to sit down.
Why should I?
For Christ's sake, Jules, would you sit down?
I'll sit down the moment you open your mouth and admit that we haven't lost it
Oh,
all.
you know my life wasn't always like this. I once noticed the stars and saw the seasons change and the butcher's closing up for the night.
What does that even mean? Oh my God, I've had it with you. Here we go again. You sacrificed everything for all of us. Do you want a trophy?
You know, my parents once bought me a shiny red bike for Christmas. It was all they could afford, but I went on about this bike. God, honestly. I was a handful, like you.
Hey.
Don't get me wrong, the bike was great. All kids want a bike when they're 10. It's like learning to drive for a young boy, but it wasn't the bike that I remember about that Christmas. It was watching the cars pass under the iron bridge as I rode over it. It was waving to my grandmother as she had a cigarette break outside of the sewing factory as I desperately rushed home for another episode of Doctor Who. It was forgetting that Mum had asked me to get some milk and me rushing back out to the shop because I could never let her down. The jealousy I have of that boy. His mind empty, his little Dalek watch never to be looked at.
Sounds like a dream, Dad.
Maybe it was. All I know is, back then, life was a slow sprint. You don't search for meaning when you're a kid. You don't listen to a song because it resonates particularly with some great moment in time, or read a book because it knows exactly what you hate about yourself. Life hasn't given you the chance to feel it yet. Some may say it's a blessing. I certainly would. Women have babies. People get married. The hospital helps the sick and the old people live in old homes. But what they don't tell you is that those women can't always have those babies. People don't stay married. The hospital can't always help the sick, and the old people weren't always old. Things just change.
Yeah, but surely it doesn't have to be like this. We can still go for a bike ride and watch Doctor Who. We can do that forever. I promise I can be there for you.
You can't just go gallivanting off. Who'd take your sister to school? Who would pay the bills if we all ran off for a life of hopscotch and dolly mixtures?
There's always another red bike. We can both just be like kids again.
You are a kid!
No, kids are free. They cause trouble and they run around. They fight, they dance, they cry, they smile, they eat. I'm numb. Can't do a thing. I've tried, but it's like I'm emotionally paralysed.
Would you go on a bike ride with me?
I'd love nothing more than to go on a bike ride with you.
I'm worried about you, Jules. You're never happy. You stay in your room half the time and you complain about the simplest of things. You've never seemed to have that red bike moment.
No, I have moments, Dad, I do. At school today, I went into this art room. I can't draw for shit, but I went into this art room and it was the end of the day, so it was empty. There's this big window. It feels like you can see the whole world. And I stood by this window and I looked out at this sea of kids. This one boy was getting a lift from his dad. He was clutching his bag for dear life. He looked flustered. He was spinning around and everything. His dad came eventually and he got in the back seat. You should have seen his face. It lit up that his dad was just there. There to pick him up. There to take him home. One night, just like this one, he'll be sat at some rainy bus stop somewhere after working 9 to 5 at the office job he desperately hates. And his dad won't be there to pick him up. But right then he was. Someone was looking out for him. Someone cared. Someone cared if he crossed the road without looking left or right. Someone cared if his jacket wasn't zipped up to the top. Just next to him was this young girl and her best friend. They were laughing. She showed us something on her phone and they both burst into hysterics. It won't be long before she stops answering her calls and her texts. Sorry, I was busy, she'll say, for 20 years. And they'll never laugh like that again or have frivolous chats about nothing. Their conversations will become serious and they'll never be those giggly teenagers again. See, I knew when I got home I'd be so low. I'd eat my tea or watch TV with you and Mum wishing the world would stop spinning, but for those few moments I realised something, Dad. Something incredible. I wasn't just looking out at some of my old schoolmates. I was experiencing a point in my life that I would remember forever. One day I'll talk like you do about the old days. Where did the time go? I'll say. But right then I was in the old days. And it felt so good to be young